The Pear Affair, Chapter 27. The next morning, Nell woke with a start. A square of cerulean blue sky blazed high above the window. A slant of sun cut across the room. Ouch! Something was digging into her stomach, pressing against her ribs. And then she remembered. Under her sweatshirt was Melinda's bag, its chain wrapped around her waist. A cold fist squeezed her insides. This was it. Today was the day. She was going to tell the mayor where her parents were. She was going to lead him to them at the Gare du Nord. Soutine, the twins, Zav, Nej, Colette, the Belleville lot, the Bernards, the Ben Amours were all counting on her to do this. She had promised them a scoop. Please let it work. Gingerly, she got out of bed and examined the indentations on her stomach where the bag had made its mark in the night. Then she tugged her sweatshirt back down and banged on the door. Within seconds, the key turned in the lock and the cloying smell of peppermints mixed with cigarette smoke filled the air. Cigarette holder and lorgnette stood on the threshold regarding her balefully. They both looked terrible, startlingly pale with red, raw eyes. "I'm ready to see the mayor," Nell blurted out. In the car, Nell sat in the back, her nose pressed to the window. They drove fast, past the university, past the Jardin de Luxembourg, past a small English bookshop, along the cobbled left bank, bump, 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 making Nell's heart jump into her throat, and then over the Seine. The water glittered, boats bobbed about. It looked like any old hot summer's day, except it wasn't. Nell had never felt this nervous, this jittery. Her stomach was alive with butterflies. City Hall was like a grand Italian palazzo, all turrets and towers. For one fleeting moment, an image flashed through Nell's mind of Pear locked up like Rapunzel in the top tower. She felt a sharp little pain in her chest and shook her head to dislodge the thought. This wasn't a fairy tale. This was real. The mayor was bad. He was doing bad things to real people, and her parents were going to do the same. A couple of stern-faced municipal department men ushered the trio out of the car, up the steps, and into a grand entrance hall. It was huge and echoey. Nell's chest tightened. At the far end of the hall, she could see the mayor surrounded by a cluster of people bearing cameras and microphones. A lady with a clipboard hurried across the hall towards them, her fingers to her lips. "We've just finishing up with the Fantastique press conference," she whispered. "Only a couple more questions and Monsieur Henri will be right with you." "As I was saying," said the mayor in his awful high-pitched voice, "this boulangerie business is very, very sad." Nell would have laughed out loud if she hadn't been so scared. She had never ever heard anyone sound so insincere. "But folks, we've got a plan. We are streamlining for the future, bringing everything under one roof, and we are so excited that these marvellous new Fantastique stores are being rolled out using the latest in health and safety measures." "Mr. Mayor, are you saying that the boulangerie attacked by the Thing weren't using the correct procedures?" asked someone, sticking a microphone under the mayor's nose. "Unfortunately," the mayor paused and sighed a long, theatrical sigh, "the bakers have only got themselves to blame. If they had taken care of their stores properly, if they had been more hygiene aware, they wouldn't have got themselves into this mess in the first place." Nell burned with indignation. How dare he blame the bakers for this thing that he had created? She wanted to run over there now and tell everyone, shout it from the rooftops, but she couldn't. She must stick to the plan. "And what of the wine cellars?" a young woman called from the back of the group. "There are rumours that batches of wine are being infected too." Wine? Nell remembered the gobbledygook. Colette had read out a list. Bread, groceries, wine. So that was next. "We're talking about bread today," said the mayor, his raisin eyes hardening. He turned and focused his attention on the people at the front of the group. "Everyone in Paris eats bread. A baguette with every meal, breakfast, lunch and dinner. You can rely on Fantastique." He punched the air with his fist. "Spore-free, certainly." There was a smattering of applause, mainly from the municipal department men. "That's it, everybody," called the woman with the clipboard, and then to Nell and the two women, "Come this way." She led them to a side door, and the mayor, Come to your senses, have you?" Nell's skin prickled under his gaze. The bag felt as though it was dragging around her waist. But he can't see it, she reminded herself. Zav had insisted the sweatshirt was big enough to conceal its bulk. "My parents have got what you want," she said, "but first you've got to agree to drop the warrant for Pear's arrest and tell me where she is." "Ah, here we go," said the mayor, just as Nell had expected he would. "I'll tell you when I've got what your parents have taken and not a moment before." He regarded her dispassionately, his raisin eyes giving nothing away. Why the change of heart? "Perrine," she said. That, at least, was the truth. "Where to, then? The sooner we head off, the sooner you'll get what you want." "Gare du Nord," she said. 10 o'clock. But when we get there, you have to let me go first. If they see you..." The chain of the bag was digging into her stomach. The rough crocodile skin was making her itch. The mayor's face turned puce. Nell watched his sausage fingers curl into fists. His ring flashed. She imagined the blow, wondering how hard it would be, catching her on the cheek and the pain that would follow. But it didn't come. Slowly, his fingers uncurled and then, "Grab her!" he yelled, suddenly to the municipal department men. "Hold her here until we get back." "No!" shouted Nell, but it was too late. The mayor's order had taken her by surprise. The grey uniforms were surrounding her just as they had at the theatre, and she didn't dare struggle in case they detected the bump of the bag. "You've got to take me with you," she screamed, but no one was listening. The mayor, the cigarette holder and lorgnette had already gone. The municipal department men moved back, shoving her for good measure, so that she stumbled and fell. The marble floor felt cold against her face. A tear slid down her cheek. She had been taken for a fool.